Hello again. In this video, we are going to go over how to create example 1 of using blend modes. For your assignment for this week, you are to create one example of using blend modes. Either this example where we're going to go through the process of opening up our texture, opening up our cosplay robot, and adding some text and creating something like this. The other option, the other demonstration will be found in the next video, which is creating something like this. But for this week's assignment, the blend modes assignment, you only have to create one and submit one of these two different examples. So I want to go ahead and start off with this one. Uh, Supplied for you are the images that we're going to be using. So hopefully you've downloaded the images. If not, take a moment to do that and go ahead and pause this video. But what I want you to do once you've downloaded those files, I'm going to go in Photoshop and select File, and I'm going to go ahead and tell it Open. You could always use the keyboard shortcuts on a Mac, Command O, or on a PC, Control O. I'm going to open this up, and it's already taken me to my folder, Week 7 Blend Mode Images, and I want to open up the second image. Now, before I open up the second image, I want to show you some of the files that we have here. We're going to open up this texture. I also made available as a Photoshop document the Robo Cosplayer. For our next demonstration, we're going to be using this skyline and also this guy that's wearing this jacket, but I also made other images available as well that you could potentially use for these demonstrations. But I'm going to open up this image here. I'm going to tell it open, and it opens up this texture within Photoshop. I'm going to press Command or Control 0 to zoom in within my screen right here. Now I want to open up my next image. I'm going to go back into File, and I'm going to select Open once more. And this time I want to open up image 3, Robo Cosplayer. I'm going to go ahead and open it. And what we have is our robot. He's already been isolated. So I want to send this image into my image 2 up here. And there's different ways to do this, but I'm going to go over this method, which I've shown previously. I'm going to right mouse click on my layer, and very important that you make sure that you right mouse click on the right side of this layer, not over the image, because it does not offer you the option for duplicate. I'm going to right mouse click right here. I'm going to tell it to duplicate layer up on top of this list. I'm going to select it, and it wants to know a destination. I want to send this into my image 2 layer, or image 2 file, not layer, excuse me. And I'm going to go ahead and tell it OK. I'm going to go ahead and close this window, because now when I go here, you can see that we have our cosplayer robot. I'm going to switch to my Move tool, and I want to make sure that Show Transform Controls are turned on up here. I want this on, so I can move this robot, and if I want to, I could go ahead and scale him right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna put him over here. I want him to be rather large. I'm gonna scale him. I want him to right here, and over here on the right side, I'm gonna have my text. Now, before I do anything else, I need to either apply it or cancel. I'm gonna go ahead and click on the checkbox. This applies it, and here is our robot. Now, in my sample, if you notice also, I applied a filter. So I'm going to go ahead and open with this layer selected. I'm going to go into the filter gallery. This is something that we did previously last week. And with my Robo Cosplayer layer selected, I'm going to go into the filter and go to the filter gallery. And here I could change the look of my style. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to hold down either Command minus or Control minus so I could see it. And I'm going to go under Sketch, I want to make sure that I have the correct one selected. And I could change the look. I want something that's going to give me one of these examples. Now I want to remind you that these that are black and white, I'm going to move my image off to the side right here. Oh, it's not allowing me to. Let's see. Very important, I should have mentioned this earlier, reminded you that your foreground and background color, if you do not have black and white, you won't have these black and white examples, but if you have different colors, those colors that you have selected will change with any of these filters that are black and white. These filters that are black and white use whatever colors you have set for your foreground background. So just keep that in mind. So maybe I want a stamp. Photocopy. Maybe I want stamp and I want to change this. Here we go. I'm going to change my stamp. Then that's nice. Because I want what I'm going to want. Anything that is black, I want it to show through. Anything that is white, I want it to be removed. Let's see. Do I want to change the smoothness? Nope. I don't. Nope. Here we're gonna go here. Well, I want a couple more dark areas. I'm gonna go ahead and tell this okay. So now I have this. We'll come back to this in a moment. Now I want to go ahead and create my text. I'm going to go to my type tool and I'm just going to click right here. Click. And I'm going to just call this, previously I had my Art 108. All right, I'm going to go ahead and say just robot. Well, maybe I'll go with that, robocause. You can already see that my font already had that this font selected, but I want to change some of it. I don't need to double click on it. I do need to either apply it or cancel. I'm going to go ahead and apply it. With my type layer here, I would just want to go over the different things that I have. I have my robocause, which I applied a filter on. And then I also created a type layer, but that text is so small. So I'm gonna, with my type layer selected, I'm gonna switch to my move tool and I'm going to interactively make this larger. If I want to change my font, I could do this too. I'm just gonna make this larger first so it's easier for me to see. I need to apply this by clicking on the checkbox that's in the option bar. And now I'm going to switch to my character panel. I already have it available here, but you could always go into the window and make sure that under character that it's displayed. So right here I have this computer font selected. Now this computer font, I believe it's already this is the font that's already available on your machine. But you can see that there's different fonts that are available. This is one that I downloaded. You can see this little icon. This is from the Adobe fonts. I have this one that I downloaded as well. So maybe I kind of like this this font, this all-round Gothic font that I've selected. But you know what? Let me just go ahead and select one that is already on my machine. Maybe I just want this one. Arial black. I'm going to move this. What I could also do is I'm going to go ahead and rotate this around. Let's see how much. I'll go this way. If I want to scale it, notice that by default it's proportion locked. If you hold down Shift on your keyboard and then click on these, you're able to break those proportions. Let's see, do I want it this way or do I want it this way? I think I want it go this way. And I'm going to go ahead and change the color. I don't want it to be black. Instead, I want to go ahead and change this one. Oh, I need to apply it first, sorry. Apply first. Now I could change the color. Uh, I mentioned that I like blue, so I'll go ahead and select a blue color. I like more of a sky blue actually. There we go. That's fine. I'm going to hide this window. Now this is just the preparation portion. So now what I want to do is apply my blend modes. The challenge is though, this time when we apply the blend modes, notice that I have my RoboCause type selected. If I apply the blend modes, it creates something like this, which is interesting, but it's not the effect that I want. So I'm going to show you a different method of applying blend modes with this layer. And we could also test this out with our robot. When we try to apply blend modes, you can see that, okay, under darken, we keep the outline, but notice that we don't necessarily, I'm going to select it, we don't get some of the highlights. I want those highlights to show through. This does kind of look like it's stamped in there. Here, let's, for fun, let's check out what lighten does. It creates like a stencil, which in itself is really interesting. Here's overlay. So you can see how we're able to work with these. That's kind of fun. This soft light, this darken, but I'm going to leave this to normal for right now. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with my text. This time what I want you to do, to apply a blend mode specifically so we could see some of the details, I want to be able to see some of these highlights show through, but also some of the shadows. This time, I'm going to double click on this layer. This opens up the layer styles. Now the difference this time around is that I'm not going to be applying a layer style such as a drop shadow, though that might look cool, or a stroke. Instead, under blending options, notice that under blending options right here, we do have a blend mode. I'm going to leave this blend mode to normal for right now. But notice that if we go down, we have further options, blend mode if gray. So I want to change not this layer, but the underlying layer. And let me just move this off to the side so we can see some of the robo. If I move this little meter, notice how at a certain point it's going to start to disappear. This is for the darker values. If I move this one over here, that's the white point, similar. The areas where it's brighter starts to disappear. What I want to do, I want to separate these. Notice how there's like a little line between them. If you hold down on a Mac, you hold down Option. On a PC, you hold down Alt. You click on one of these, and it's going to separate them. So I'm going to start to separate these, and at a certain point, it starts to reveal some of the shadows. Now you can see it's now a bigger area. I can move this one, and you could see how I could see more of the darker areas show through. I'm going to do the same with the highlights, the lighter colors. I'm going to hold down Option on a Mac, Alt on a PC. I'm going to start to drop this down, and we could see some of the color, some of the brighter colors slowly show through. I could change this one to see if I want to go further. Okay, that looks fine. Now that I have something that looks like this, now I could change the blend mode to see if one of these looks more interesting to me. This color burn looks really cool. This is lighten. What happens if we go to overlay? Oh, it's a little bit too soft. Color burn, I really like how some of the details show up through the color burn. But even just leaving it to normal, if I want that color, I'm going to go ahead and just leave this to normal and tell it OK. We could always change the color. I had this blue color, If I go back to my character, change the color, I'm going to move these windows so we can see them. You see how it gives us different results? I'm making this a little bit darker. Here, let's use this one. Let's change the hue. Okay, I kind of like that. I can tell it okay. And this time I'm going to do something similar with my RoboCos. My cosplayer over here. I'm going to go ahead and double click on him to open up the layer styles. I'm not going to be applying one of these layer styles. I'm going to change the blend mode options. I'm going to go down here again under blend if. I'm gonna start off with the lighter colors first. I'm gonna hold down Option on a Mac, Alt on a PC, and start to drop this. Notice how some of the colors start to disappear. I want some of the highlights. I really like what's going on right here. It definitely feels more integrated within, as if it's printed onto that texture. Now let me do the same with dark values. Hold down Option on a Mac, Alt on a PC, separate these. I want to get some more details within the highlights, within the shadows. So I have something that looks like this now. Now look at this. I really like how it looks like some of the details are coming through. Now this is normal. Let's see if I go to darken. If I want to get rid of all the white, that looks pretty good. Multiply. Now if I want to, what if I want to get rid of all the black? Have something looks like this. Overlay. Kind of like this effect. But here, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just select, I believe, darken here because I want the black and I want to get rid of all the white. I'm going to go ahead and tell it OK and check that out. I'm going to deselect it. It now looks as if these different visual layers, they're better integrated within the layer underneath it. So option 1 is for you to try to create this. So hopefully you're able to follow along. If not, option 1, you can always go back and rewatch this and try to follow along and pause it. Or if you're in my class, you can always ask me for assistance. I'll be more than happy to help you out. So this was option 1 for your filter assignment. In the next video, we're going to go over how to create something that looks like this right here. All right, so I look forward to seeing you in the next video and have fun.